Hello everybody, welcome back to another video game analysis. And today, we're going to be exploring the licensed video game world. What is a licensed video game? A licensed video game is when a video game is based off of another property, whether it be a movie, or a comic book, or a novel even, or a TV show. Anything in any other branches of media typically make their own video game. So, we're going to explore ways this turns out, and we're going to explore ways, and we're going to sprinkle in reasons why these games are made, So, let's buckle up and we'll. So we're beginning here with a licensed game based off of a TV special of all things. Like it's a TV released movie, but this was a while ago. Truth or Square from SpongeBob. Now, this is now. Personally, I actually liked this game. I thought this game was fun, but this is a great visual example. I think this is a great I don't think a lot of people played this. I don't think there's a cult classic following to this game, so um, it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but it was fun. I had a good time with it. So yeah, this is a great example of a licensed game where it's just made to make a little more extra cash, Like this is the pretty much the big bulk of what you see with licensed video games. In fact, licensed video games typically have a what's the word? Not a good reputation because of games like this. And licensed games are also a big chunk of what is called shovelware, which is a topic for another day. But a quick definition is shovelware is a nickname for games that are made simply to make money, to profit over. You make it really quick. But licensed games are a large majority of shovelware. They're games that are made based off of a franchise, especially movies and TV shows, typically. In this case, a TV special, just to make more money off of the name brands. You see, people like SpongeBob. People like maybe they saw the movie special, whatever you want to call it, and they wanted to buy the game. It's the same name, same brand, especially for kids. Kids love that stuff. They'll eat it all up. And typically, these are made for kids. In a way that's like not like I'm not talking like ways of teaching kids or treating kids with intelligence. We're more like kids are dumb, they'll buy anything with a SpongeBob's face or Mickey Mouse's face on it. That's pretty much it. But games like this are a lot of people loved back in the day. Like PS1 had a lot of games like this where you get to explore. Like there's like the Rugrats and the Simpsons. A lot of people like licensed games like that where you get to explore in places in the show that you always wanted to, or just interact with the world around them. It's really some people can get enjoyment out of it, but for the most part, licensed games like this, based off of a very temporary medium. I think that should be very important to clear up here. Truth or Square's popularity was going to be very temporary. SpongeBob, as a whole, if they made a game like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, was a much more popular game than this. SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie, the game, was much more popular than this because SpongeBob the movie was a movie release game and movie, and all the games just coming nostalgic memories and they bought it because they loved the product. In this case, being SpongeBob, or there's a lot of people who let's play N64, PS1 Rugrats games, because that's how it is. It's a big element in how in how people who are selling this product think. They think, I'm going to expand. I'm going to branch out this thing I think I'm investing in and I think will be successful, and I'll make as much revenue off of the name as possible. That mindset doesn't always work out. I'm sure everybody has a game like this in their collection, especially when you're a kid. Don't lie about it, and you probably enjoyed some of them. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know. So what we just discussed was the most common example of a licensed game. This is what many people know licensed games to be. Now, to a lot of children, this concept doesn't come to them. They just see the brand, like I mentioned, they just see the brands like, oh, I love SpongeBob, and they'll pick it up, It doesn't matter the quality of the game, it matters that the brand is on there. And I think, a lot of reviewers, especially like the angry video game nerd, can attest to that. That's the whole point. But there's other examples I wanted to share, and I wanted to get that out of the way, because it's very common. It is the largest extent of what licensed games are. But there are many. There are good amount. There's other. I think there's two more routes to this. I think there's a good amount of examples and other stories behind licensed games, whether they're good or bad. Oh boy. I'm probably reminding people of a lot of Wii owners with a lot of scars right now. Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. I never played the 3DS version. I played the demo. I think that was a lot worse, just from what I played anyway. Yes, this game was a failure story, but this wasn't like the last example. This isn't like the majority of licensed games. You see, yes, you're gonna say, "Oh, but this is just a Sonic spin-off. Technically, it's not a licensed game." Yes, but no. This game's based off of a TZ series based off of a game. And yes, this works both ways, people. It's not just a brand wants to make a video game so they can make some more success off their product. It's also the opposite. Sometimes a video game like Sonic, someone is inspired to make a TV show, and with Sonic's history in television, particularly with cartoons, there's a lot of spins on his lore, and there's a lot of different continuities of Sonic, especially like also in comic books. It works multiple ways. You can license any way you want, and you can like Pokemon's a great example. Pokemon starts as a game, then they have an anime, they have a manga, they have a lot. They have toys. It works in multiple ways. So, Sonic Boom was a story where there was really no discussion between the people who were making the cartoon and the people making the game. It had the hell of developing problem where this game was being made for the 360 and PS3, but then they said, no, now you gotta make it for Wii U, and they were looking at each other going, we can't run this on Wii U, we built this for the 360 and the PS3, which is very different hardware. And it is. And then that's where the failure of this game came in. You see, the point is, Big Red Button, especially from what we saw from like documentary footage and the E3 coverage, we saw the effort. We saw what they wanted to do with this, and we were excited. There was a lot of great ideas. This is a Western company taking on a Japanese game series that Western people liked more. So, then because in Japan Sonic's not that popular, but in America he is. Yet Japanese people made the games, which Sonic Team I think does the best job they could. They do a good job. Like yes they make their mistakes, but I'm not gonna get into that argument. The point is, there's a lot of ideas that a lot of critics from America and Europe and whatnot wanted to see in Sonic the Hedgehog. But development hell, the lack of communication with Sega and the people making the TV show to go along with this game, it created this game that could have been great. I would have loved this if this went well. If the fighting system wasn't just XY over and over and over, just boring one single attacks. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't personally think this is an awful game. I think this is a meh game. That's my opinion. I think it's just a meh game. And yes, it has a lot of glitches, but it has its issues, but what are you going to do? A lot of people call this the new Sonic 06, which is another game I could use for another topic with Sonic, but overall they put their heart and soul in this game. They were working on it for years. They were trying to get it working. This was Big Red Button's big break to work on Sonic the Hedgehog, and they had promising ideas, and it's a shame that they are now, they're probably doomed forever now. They're still trying to keep the Sonic Boom franchise going, especially now that they pretty much they're marketing for the new for Fire and Ice. Pretty much, we promise we'll do good this time. Let's be honest here. But yeah, this games that was made for general audience, but they tried, they really did, but a lot got in the way, and these is just one of the two other licensed game stories I think gets overlooked. Was a TV show based off a video game, and had a video game based off the TV show. And even the new Ratchet and Clank reboot. This is like the second week in a row I mentioned this. The Ratchet and Clank reboot was a game based off a movie based off a game. It's amazing how the webs can work here. But the last one is. And I think this is a huge. The success story is never talked about in a licensed game, and when there is a successful licensed game, nobody calls it a licensed game. But sometimes they do, sometimes they're forced to. But yeah, nobody calls a successful licensed games licensed games. Now, most of the time, successful licensed games, I've been thinking about what to record here, and a lot of times, every time I think of a licensed game, they're usually superhero games, and I don't know if that's because it's related to the great popularity that is the superhero, especially in today's world with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the DC Cinematic Universe and the Fox's Marvel movies and Sony's Spider-Man movies, if they're going to do that anymore now that Marvel has Spider-Man. But again, another thing I'm mentioning 2 weeks in a row. But it's very relevant. And especially the next game we could use is not just that one game I want to use as an example, but the series the game is from. Like even licensed games can pull off a spin-off, like a spin-off a whole series on its own and create its new life. Well, create new life out of it. So far we talked about licensed games that affect the gaming industry. And well, sort of. Well, we talked about the gaming industry with the SpongeBob example being that video games make money. I want to make more money off of this brand. I'm going to make money now. And then the second example was we want to try something new, and we're using this show as a springboard for this video game series. Or even if, let's say, Sonic Boom was a completely new franchise in general, they would say, well, they're giving me this challenge to make a great game based off this TV show. I want to do this. I want to try. And then, sometimes it doesn't work. But here's an example, the Arkham series. And the Arkham series is a perfect example of a licensed game series where the guy said, I want to try to do something with this. I have great ideas to incorporate. And they did it. The Arkham series is a smash hit. I have every game in the collection except for Arkham Knight. Hopefully one day that'll change, but for now I can't get access to it. And I want to explain something about my playing here. It's been a long time since I continued Blackgate here. I really like lately I've been recording VGAB footage with games where I really have to continue them because they end up in my backlog and I just forget to finish them. Like Sonic Boom, I never finished on purpose. If I'm honest, obviously, but yeah, with this game, I actually had the 3DS version, but then the Vita version was being ported to the Wii U. So I'm like, oh, let me get that instead. It's the exact same game. Maybe there's a few differences in the isometric view or whatever, but I played really stupid here, and honestly, this part I cannot figure out how to pass. I'm thinking now I might need a new gadget to get me over, or probably get a new skill. But just ignore me being a complete idiot in this footage. I just want to warn you guys now. So now that that's out of the way, let's get back to the topic. The Arkham series, not only like the reason why I mentioned that we've been only talking about the video game industry, how it affects the video game industry. This video game not only was a great success, and many video games copied ideas from it, because innovation, you're moving forward and all that. This game also had this idea of enriching the comic book worlds, because this was licensed from DC and Warner Brothers because they hold the rights to a lot of DC property. Warner Brothers holds a lot of DC rights to media properties, while DC holds the rights for comic book properties and whatnot. And that's really cool. That's really cool to give Rocksteady the chance to make something great out of this. And a lot of superhero games, especially, copied ideas from here, from the whole series, from the series as a whole. And have a handheld iteration here, like Blackgate, shows the success because they want to bring it to as many platforms, so many types of gamers as possible. There's mobile games based off the Arkham series. It was incredibly successful, and it also affected the comic book world. The Arkham series had its own comic book series, and it showcased a lot for Batman. It gave Batman even more popularity, and if there's one thing I love in the comic book worlds, I love reading Elseworld stories. I love reading new continuities. I love reading limited series, because what those all have in common is, yes, they're not the main continuity, but they can add on to the main continuity because they can show off a certain aspect of Batman or multiple aspects of Batman that are true to enhance people's interest in new stories in the main continuity. Like, for example, a lot of what makes Superman Superman is You know, at first he's the most golden age hero you can get. He's the first superhero, but what added his depth was a lot of Elseworld stories, like Kingdom Come. I just finished reading. It's a very famous DC comic book. I suggest you look it up. Kingdom Come was a great example of Superman. The idea of the story is Superman's the next generation of superheroes is out, and they make the man of tomorrow, Superman, feel like the man of yesterday. And Superman ran away in response to all these new heroes and their great approval ratings from the human beings, because these new heroes kill, they destroy, they do whatever it takes to stop it, but it's not the right thing to do to the generation of Superman and Batman. Now, showcasing this comic, you see that Superman. They showcase a lot of what a Superman is as someone who has to be extremely moral because of how much power he has, the ability to destroy the world with a snap of his fingers. And, to showcase stuff like that, it enhances the comic world. And the Arkham series, I think, does the same thing for Batman. Especially since it brought back a lot from the very famous animated series. There's so many layers here. I think that's what's really important. It's very exciting to see licensed products in other realms create new continuities and new ideas and enhance the characters as well as make a great game. This is like I can go on and on about Arkham and Batman as a character, but we got a video to finish.
He's got to be close. We'll find him.
So another episode down. These go by so fast. So yeah, I actually want next week to kind of bounce off this topic. Next time I want to talk about concepts and executions in video games. I want to look into how a lot of game developers would have ideas that gamers wouldn't necessarily like, or maybe there would be some misconceptions or some mistakes developers made that gamers liked, or them themselves liked and put in the game. So concepts, ideas, and executions, how they made those ideas reality. I think that's an interesting topic, so we're gonna tackle that next time. If there's anything I missed, if there's anything I got wrong, if there's anything you would like to add to the conversation, please do not hesitate to leave a comment. A like and a share will help, subscribe, do all that stuff. I would appreciate that. But thank you all so much for watching. I've been Billy, your video game analyzer. Have a good day, good night whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you next time.